Hello, we're going to give it just a minute before we get started. I'm going to let people pop in. Hello. Hi, Renee. Hi, Mary. How y'all doing this morning? I know it's kind of early, but I wanted to get started on this because this is kind of a little bit of a lengthy tutorial. Thank you. I do too. This has got to be one of my favorite lines. In fact, I just made a sock gnome the other day. I made 2 of them, and they are just so stinking cute because I just fell in love with this paper. I said, "Oh my gosh, I need to make some Christmas gnomes." These were Halloween ones. So anyway, we will go ahead and kind of go over what we're going to need first of all. So you're going to need either 2 collections of the Kringle & Co. by Tracy Smith, or you're going to need 1 of the regular paper packs and then 1 of the Solids Plus, okay? I would get all 3 just in case you make any mistakes, because if you do, you won't have enough paper. So basically, I would buy 2 of this one and 1 of this one, and plus you want the extra cards. Oh, also, guys, look at these. I'm so excited about these. Finally, we have some Christmas holiday recipe cards. They come in vertical and horizontal. I absolutely love these. So this is a lot of fun. I actually had a request to do a live, a tutorial on a recipe album. Now, this is similar to one that I have made before, but let's go and look through it real quick, what we're going to make. Okay, so this is the album. This one is, I believe, 9 inches long by 7.5 inches wide. So this is going to fit your medium-sized recipe plastic pages. Let me see if I can get a measurement for you. I actually ordered some online and then they didn't show up. So I'm just using some of my leftovers for now. These are 7 inches by 8.5. So if you get the ones that are 8.5 by 11, those are going to be way too long for this particular album. So I just wanted to let you know. So, I mean, let me tell you what, I live in a small little country oceanside town, and we have one Michael's. Someone came in and bought 7 packs of these. Okay, so I wasn't able to get them there. But anyway, so we'll just go ahead and keep going on. But anyway, so I just want to let you know too that this little skate die is a Sizzix die. Okay, so I had a friend named Mel that sent me some of these little ice skates, and they're just so stinking cute. And what I did, because I wanted to use our solids and plus, I went ahead and traced it around, but I wanted to let you know that that is where that die comes from. And I'm not really sure where the snowflake die came from, but she also sent me those, and so I just kind of added that in there, popped the top skate up with some foam dots, and now the Dollar Tree sells foam dots, foam everything. In fact, look at this, they sell in a little thing 1/8, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch foam tape. Isn't that awesome? So if you are making any cards this year for Christmas and you want to pop some stuff up, this 1/8 inch foam tape is amazing. Let me tell you what, because it's all in one strip. Okay, also you're going to need some 2-inch score tape, all right, and 1/2 inch score tape is probably pretty much all you're going to need. Or you could use your adhesive, which basically, so far on my album, I used just a glue, okay? You're also going to need some baker's twine. I got these from Staples. These are 1-inch little fasteners. That's what they call them. Anyway, maybe a little bit of Tyvek if you have some of that. It's not necessary to use a Tyvek. You could use washi tape instead. This is also optional, just some reinforcement labels. Those are kind of cute. Of course, you're going to need 8.5 by 11 cardstock and some chipboard. And of course, your score tape, your scoreboard, your graph ruler, and your paper cutter. So I think I got it all. If I missed anything, I have all the directions for this written for you, and I will be putting those up today, hopefully. So let's go on the inside. So I went ahead and left this blank because what I want to do is I want to put a large photo of me and my daughter in here, and this is going to be for her for Christmas. This is that's why I haven't exactly decorated this yet. So because I haven't taken the picture yet, so I wanted to do that. But anyway, so you have 2 pockets here that could hold about maybe 2 to 3 cards each, and then you open this up. You could do more photos, or you could just go ahead and put more cards in there. This is completely up to you. I'm just giving you the base of this album, and you can go to town with this. Let me tell you, there's so much you could do with this. You could add more pockets. You could do, you know, a waterfall, whatever you want to do. And then you have your little pages right here. So you have several different recipe pocket pages. If I had the choice, if I had 50, I would add, you know, 10 to 12 for each page. They should fit in here just fine, okay? And then on this side, because you know we all have those recipes that we print off from our computer, I wanted to go ahead and give each signature, which is each page, a large pocket, so you could definitely fit those in there. And you could also put a large pocket here in the back. But I'm not sure yet if I want to do a waterfall or I'm going to do another large photo. But anyway, I thought this would be really fun to make for my daughter for Christmas. I love the sticker collection. Everything is just so stinking cute in this paper collection. Just adorable. And I especially love the recipe cards so that it comes, well, you have to buy those separately. But anyway, and that is it for that. So let's go ahead and get started because this is going to be quite a bit of a long tutorial. I just want to say hello, Carries, is that how you pronounce it? And Wilda, hello, hello. Brenda, Roy, how you doing? I'm so excited y'all are on and in here. Okay, and I'm going to try to get to all the comments. Let's see who else we have here. Wendy, is this Kimmy? It is. How are you doing? Also, Jojo, hello. Sherry, Ellen, and Carol. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off with A, and this is a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I kept it as is, okay? Let me get my little mat out of the way for the moment, but you're going to get out your scoreboard, and you're going to score it at 3/4 inch, and then you're going to flip it over horizontally 1.5, and then flip it again. That'll be the last time you flip it, okay? And 2 1/4, okay? Then we're going to come all the way down to 9 1/4, and then we're going to score it again at 9 1/4 and 9 1/2. Now, we're going to get out our mat. We're going to go ahead and start folding on the score lines. Let me grab this. This is my favorite one for mashing my paper. Okay. I'm going to flip it over again. Flip it over one more time. And I always like to fold on mountain high. So if you don't know what mountain high is, that is where the score line is raised up. Okay. I know it's kind of hard to tell on this red paper, but it's there. And then I'm going to engage this second score line. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fold on here. Always make sure that these are lined up straight. If they're not, then you know you need to rescore it, okay? I'm going to leave this one alone for the time being, this particular score line, just for the moment, okay? Because for me, it's easier, and I'll explain that in just a minute, all right? Let's go to B. B is, again, is 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So easy, no cutting. All you got to do is score it one time at 6 7/8. Get out my little mat again, and I'm going to fold over on the score line, okay? Okay, so this is going to be our little side pockets. Remember that one we did just a minute ago? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pencil, and on the inside of my little page here, I'm going to make a little score line at 4 1/4, not a score line, I'm sorry, a little mark with my pencil, not a score line. Make a mark there, and then I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw a line straight across. This way, I know that my tape is going down straight, okay? If you don't have it going straight, then it's not going to fit your cards in there, okay? So I'm going to grab out my wonderful little Dollar Tree foam tape, and I'm going to go ahead and add that in there, okay, right in the center. I did do that a little bit crooked, but you know what? That's because I'm live, and of course during live shows, nothing goes as it should, does it? Just saying. All right, here we go. So now we're going to go on to C. You're going to need 2 of these for each page. You're going to have 4 signature pages, okay? So if that helps you to go ahead and count those out and cut them. But like I said, I'm going to have this all written down for you anyway. This is 1 inch by 3 7/8. And then what you're going to do on that 1 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. Both of those will be identical. We're going to fold again on that mountain high. We're going to make little hinges. Okay. And then we're going to come along here. And I don't want you to put it all the way up to the edge or all the way down to the edge. I want you to kind of do it somewhere in the middle. That way, nothing fights with anything, and it'll be easy for you. So we're going to go ahead and add glue to one of the sides of the hinges. And I'm going to face my little open face inwards. I call it my Pac-Man. Okay. And I'm going to burnish that in. Just make sure it's lined up with the edge there, not hanging out or whatever, because then your pocket's going to look crazy. Okay. Although mine is already going to look crazy because I did that crooked, but it's all good. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. Just again, kind of center that in there and burnish it in. Okay, now I know you're tempted to glue this down, right? Nope, not yet. We're going to put this to the side. Okay, well, not to the side yet. Hold on. We're going to grab A back out. Remember where we had our score lines right here to the right? Yeah, it would still be to the right even if I flipped it over. But anyway, we're going to flip it over to the front side. Well, actually, this would be the back side. Excuse me. The back side, if I can explain this, my little Pac-Man is going to be facing to the left. The open mouth is going to be facing to the left. That's what you want. Okay? We're going to come and grab our glue or tape or whatever you're going to use, and we're going to apply glue all over to the right-hand side of your score line, okay? The one that has not been engaged yet. And what I like to do is always use this to help me keep my stuff straight. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up here. And wipe off any excess glue. And burnish it in. The best way to check that is to go to the other side. Okay, now I can go ahead and engage that second score line, which will now give me a 1/4 inch hinge, okay? So now it's going to look something like this, okay? And then you should have your open face now to your right, all right? Just making sure. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use D. D is going to be your pocket page, and this one kind of has a few steps. I went ahead and cut this out already on accident, but anyway, this one is going to be 9.5 inches long by 5.5, okay? On your 5.5 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. You're going to turn it back to the 9.5 inch side. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then again at 9, okay? And then what you'll want to do is go ahead and trim your corners off. Just make sure you don't go far into your little pocket here, okay? you're going to go ahead and fold on your score lines. All right, and as you can see, this little pocket is forming. Okay, now, this is completely up to you. If you want to have these little indentions right here, okay, I call it the file folder indention, and that's way I can grab my papers easily out of there. You're going to need an envelope punch, okay? And this is the 1, 2, 3 punch board. This is so easy, guys. What you're going to do is you're going to open this up, and to the edge that does not have the hinge on it, you're going to line it up to the 2-inch, and then you're going to punch. Then you're going to flip it over horizontally, and then again you're going to do the same thing, punch at the 2-inch. Okay, so simple, guys. How easy is that? I love, love, love it. And then I already cut it, but what I did was I just lined it up here on my scoreboard. Okay, and then I went right up to where my little rounded edge goes in here, and then I just trimmed it off with my paper cutter. Really super easy, guys. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, then you're going to want to line this up here, okay? And this is to get your little hole punch, right? Oops, sorry. What I want you to do is fold these in before you make your mark, all right? And you're going to take your graph ruler. You're going to go up 1.5 inches, okay? And then in 4 1/4, and you're going to make a little mark, okay? And then of course I used my eyelet hole punch, punched a hole, and then added in my little tab here, okay? Or brad, excuse me. Then to make sure that this is really secure, and because you're going to be pulling on this a lot, especially if you're using string, right? There's going to be a lot of work going on here. I wanted to make this paper a little bit stronger, and so that's where the tie back comes in, okay? Just because of that. So it's really pretty simple. Now, this was the confusing part for me, and I had messed it up, but that's why I'm here, and I'm going to help you out today with this one specific part, if I can find my other pages, which they seem to have so amazingly disappeared. How bizarre is that? Okay. Oh, there they are. Okay. Here's the finished page, okay? So I hope this will make sense for you. Now when we're putting our envelope here, okay, you want it where your little flap right here is going to be on the side with the hinge, not the hinge, excuse me, the opposite of the hinge, okay? So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and attach my pocket. Here's my side with the hinge. This is where the pocket's going to go. All right, I'm going to open this up all the way so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I want to make sure I'm not crazy. No, I'm not. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add my glue on the bottom half only, okay, because I am going to be needing to add some paper underneath my envelope. You could use a whole piece of paper here, but you're really pretty much wasting the paper. Now, where the score line is, I'm going up about a 1/16 of an inch in front of the score line. So if you can see here, maybe I can move it up. Hold on, let me burnish it in really quick. Okay, wipe away my glue. I don't know if y'all can really see here, but from the edge, there's about a 1/16 of an inch, okay? That's where you're gonna go ahead and make sure that this is glued down, all right? Don't wanna go right on the hinge, that's for sure, or it will not fold over. Okay, now I'm gonna come in here and I'm going to grab E. Okay, E is 3 inches by 8.5 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and score it on the 3-inch side at a 1/2 inch. Okay, and then on my opposite side, I'm using my little rounded edge here punch. And that's to kind of give it more of a rounded edge look. I just kind of like that. Okay, and I'm going to come back over here. All right. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go ahead and attach it. Again, I'm going to be doing that 1/16 of an inch from the edge, okay? Alrighty. Just barely. Again, burnish it in and wipe off any wet glue, okay? Because you sure don't want your pocket to close in the wrong spots. Now I'm going to turn this around, okay? And I'm just going to line this up over here on my edge. I'm going to grab my graph ruler again and the same spot, but this time I'm only going to go, I go in 1/2 inch. Hold on, guys. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure I did. Yep, 1/2 inch. You're going to go in 1/2 inch. And again, make your mark at 4 1/4. Okay. That should be the last time I need my ruler. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my hole punch. Oops, this is kind of stuck in there. Oops, sorry guys. Okay. Gotta see what I'm doing here. I'm going to make my hole punch. And before I add my brad in, of course, I want to add my decorative cardstock, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that piece now. So now we're going to our pattern paper. This is going to go on top of E, and you're really actually going to need 2 of these, and for some odd reason I only cut 1. This is going to be 2 3/8 by 8 3/8. Just so you know, on most of these pages, you know, these papers, it's all going to be 8 3/8 inches in length, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on top here. One day I need to try red line tape. And I'm just going to center this. I always like to have a border on mine. I don't know if everybody does that, but I think the majority of us crafters do. Oops, I guess I do need my hole punch again. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and reintroduce my hole. Okay. Now, I can add my little reinforcement label. I'm going to burnish that in. And then I'm going to grab my brad, flip it over here, and just make sure that your brad is lined up horizontal. Then I'm going to get some heavy duty, this is Scotch washi tape. I really kind of want to use heavy duty washi tape for this particular thing here. It's almost as good as Tyvek, okay? But I don't want to waste a Tyvek on such a little small piece. Okay, just going to burnish that in. Okay. And you do want to leave your brad just a little bit loose so that you can add in your baker's twine, okay? And we're going to go ahead and do that now. I just kind of guesstimate how much I need. And if I have too much, I just trim it off. Just enough so that I can tie my knot. And I'm going to add mine to the top here. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim off that excess on one side. Okay. And then now I have my little wrap thing. Okay. But I'm going to leave that open for now because I want to add my pattern paper. Okay. So before I go to that, I want to go ahead and paper the inside of this first. Okay. And you're going to need, for this piece right here, which was actually A, you're going to need a piece that is, oops, wrong one. I don't want to grab the wrong one. Okay. This little polka dot one, I just love this polka dot. 6 7/8 by, again, 8 3/8. So just like I said, pretty much all the pages are 8 3/8. Let me move that out of my way. So I have a nice flat surface. And I don't know about y'all, but this is kind of how I glue mine in here. I like to place it down and then add my glue. That way it doesn't move on me, or I don't accidentally stick it in the wrong spot, because I've done that so many times. Okay, we're going to turn this around. And oops, I'm going to go over, that's okay. And again, burnish this in. Okay, and then for my little hinge here, I'm going to need a little piece that is 5/8, again, by 8 3/8. So that's, I'm going to line it up because y'all already know what it is. Let me see here. Maybe I'll use this one. Use the other one for the top. Okay. Okie dokie. And if I miss any of your questions, y'all, I will try to get to them at the end of the show. Okay, so you're going to leave this little Pac-Man piece alone, okay? But the top one, we're going to go ahead and paper that. And I'm going to use my buffalo check here. I have no idea where they came up with that name, buffalo check, but it works. Okay, I'm going to burnish that one in. Now y'all are thinking, okay, how am I going to add in my plastic pages? Okay, so let me grab out at least 5 here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, you always want to make sure that your loading direction is at the top. Okay, so just be sure to see, like that one wasn't craziness. Okay, so always make sure that's at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to take one of these here. Now I could give you the measurements for this, but the problem is that each of the pages are a little bit different. Okay, so what I do is I just line them up approximately where it's going, not approximately, but you know where I'm going to place it, and where the little holes are, I make a little mark. Okay, like this one only has 2, and the other book I made, there were 3 holes, so that's the problem. So each company makes theirs a little bit different. Okay, And then I'm going to grab my hole punch again. And I'll go ahead and make my, well, if I can get this paper out of the way, we'll make our holes. Okay. And again, it's still in the way. Get out of there. There we go. You're making me crazy. This must have had glue on it or something. Okay. There's one. And two. Now this is so simple, guys. All you do is grab all your little pieces here. And in case if you use this particular brand, again, I want to make sure my, okay, they're at the top. In fact, I'm paranoid, guys. I always double check because if you don't, you have one of them upside down, which again, that one was upside down. It's gonna, I know maybe it wasn't. Oh, this one's a side loading. Okay, got it. Once you put this in here, I can guarantee you won't be able to put any more in, okay? Because the way I made this or designed it is they're kind of like locked in there, all right? Or glued in, shall I say. So I'm just gonna line this up, grab my little brads here. Hold on. Let me make another hole. I meant to do both. Sorry about that. So the only hinge you're not going to put a hole through is this last one right here, okay? All right, here we go again. And I'm going to fold this horizontal and add in my second one. Okay, so if you look at the back of this, it's going to look something like this, okay? Guys, did I do that wrong? Oops. Hold on. One of these babies doesn't fill out. Uh-oh. Let's try this one more time. I knew something was weird. Okay. Get in there. Now we've got it. Okay. Now we've got it. Now it's right. Okay. So when you create your hinge system, this is a little bit different than what you normally would do, right? You'd have a pocket that would slide onto the hinge. The only thing that's going to slide onto the hinge is this, okay? It is up to you. If you want to tape these down, you can, but I'm just going to leave the brads as is, okay? Then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to start adding some more of my decorative paper here. I don't like leaving my hinges blank, okay? So I use a 1/4 of an inch, again by 8 3/8 inches, and sorry, I'm going to use this one. So simple, guys. Maybe I should flip it up the other way. Just add a little bit of glue. Okay. Line it up there. I'm going to wipe off my excess first. and then burnish it in. Okay. And then my paper for this page, make sure this is right. I'm going to take off a little smudge. About a 1/16 of an inch. Again, 8 3/8 inches long by 6 3/4. Okay. And then again, I'm actually going to take off another little smidge, guys. I just want to make sure that when I fold over, it doesn't fight. Okay. There we go. And burnish it in. Sorry guys, just dropped a little piece of paper there. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it around and adhere the rest. And you know what I love about this collection too is that there's a lot of multi-directional paper, so I don't really have to think too much about it, which is awesome because I don't want to. Okay, so you have a couple choices. You can either have this where it's like this, or you can have it where it's like this. Okay, so it's completely up to you. Now we want to go ahead and attach our little piece of paper for this little top of the pocket. This is going to be 4 inches by 8 3/8. Okay. Oh, you know what? I just messed up. No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, I got a little nervous there, guys. I thought I put the glue on the wrong side. I mean, really, there is no wrong side when it comes to this paper because it is beautiful, but I like to have a little bit of difference. Okay, and just burnish that in. Now, for the inside of the pocket, you don't need a whole piece of paper. You're just wasting paper because the pocket is truly going to cover over everything. But before that, I do want to trim off a little bit of my wings here on my hinges, just on the bottom part, so it doesn't fight. And your piece of paper that's going to go right over here to your left is going to be 3 inches by 8 3/8. Okay, and actually I'm going to turn it this way. It's a little bit easier for me. So has anybody started seeing fall weather yet? It's still in the 90s here. Oh, I don't know if we're ever going to have fall. It'll be winter before it's fall here. Let me tell you. Burnish that in. Okay. And now I can go ahead and engage my pocket. All right. So we're going to add our glue right on our hinges. Okay. And just lay it down. Oh, hold on. Got to remove my tape. And I am going to use a little bit of glue here because I know it seems kind of crazy that we do that here in Florida, but I live very close to the ocean. And the humidity is something fierce here. Okay. So it doesn't matter what brand of tape I use, it will lift. Okay. So we'll just burnish that in. And now we have our two little pockets. And then our very last piece, again, is going to be a 1/4 inch by 8 3/8, just for this little edge right here. Right there on my hinge. Okay, burnish that in. So now we pretty much have it done. I mean, this is a lot of fun to do. Okay, there's only one more piece we need to do right here. And I just so happened to forget. I actually didn't forget, I just didn't cut it yet. I'm going to do about 3 inches, but you probably could do less. You could probably do 2.5, but I'm going to do 3. 3 inches by 8 3/8. Should I do next? I'm going to do 3. Okay. Now I'm just going to line it up and I'm going to put it to the right of my hinge, okay, or score line, shall I say, just a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, and one more. Our flap is 2.5. So I'm going to do, I want the black check. I think I'm just going to do, yeah, let's do the black check. Okay, 2 3/8 by 8 3/8. And then around my edges. Uh-oh. Was that 2 3/8? Did I do that wrong? No, I did not do it 2 3/8. Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's try this one more time. There you go. Perfect. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking there, guys. Did y'all see that mistake? If you didn't tell me, just playing. Okay. Okay, burnish that in. I'm going to add a little bit more glue right here where that tab is, or brad, shall I say. I don't know why I keep saying tab when it's brad. Okay. And just burnish that in. Now I can go ahead and engage the rest of this, okay? So I'm going to add my glue on my hinges. fold over. And burnish it in. Okay. Now I can go ahead actually and trim some of this. Okay. Now it's pretty much ready to go. All I got to do now is work on the hinge, okay? Because I already have the others made. So you would have 4 all together. Actually, before we work on the hinge, let's go ahead and work on the outside of the album. Let's get out our chipboard. Move all of this out of my way, guys. Okay. Chipboard is going to be you're going to need 2 at 7.5 by 9 inches. You're going to need 1 at 2 7/8 by 9 inches. Okay. And then you'll need 1 at 2 3/8 by 8 3/8. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get out my paper, and I'm going to have to marry 3 sheets together, okay? But first of all, I know that I need my paper to be 2 inches longer than my chipboard. So if my chipboard is 9 inches, actually it should be perfect, 9, 10, 11. It's already 11 inches, duh. Okay, sorry guys. So what I'm going to do, on my first side, I'm going to, at 8.5 inches, I'm going to score at 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to turn it counterclockwise 1 time, and I'm going to score it at 1 inch, and then at 10 inches. Okay, and then you're going to flip it over because you want it to be the mountain high side or the bumpy side up. Okay. Then for my second piece, I'm only going to score it on the 11-inch side, again at 1 inch and 10 inches. And then for my third piece, I'm going to do the same thing, 1 inch and 10 inches. Again, I'm going to do that twice. Just make sure it's good. Okay. I always want to make sure that all of them are lined up on the bumpy side, okay? And this is where your 1/2 inch score tape is going to come in handy. I only have 1/4 inch on hand, so I'm going to grab my first one that has a score line on the 8.5 inch by 11 side. And I like to use my mat to line everything up, if that makes sense, just so that everything is in line. Okay. And get out my tape. Actually, before I do that, I do want to tape this up real quick. So I'm going to do 2 strips of my 1/4 inch to make my 1/2 inch. And if you have anything hanging over, just trim it off. I barely have anything here. I'm going to go ahead and trim it anyway. Burnish it in really well. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my second one. This is my bumpy side up. I'm going to add the tape over to the right hand side. Hi, Terry. Okay. Man, I didn't go all the way up, but you do want to do that. But I always use glue, so you go ahead, and on my first piece, I'm going to go ahead and remove these, and I'm going to add my glue. I'm just going to line it up at that 1/2 inch. Burnish it in, wipe off any excess glue, and I go ahead and burnish it in on the other side as well. And I also add one very thin strip of glue, and this one does dry clear, this particular brand, so I'm okay with using this there. You could use Mod Podge if you had to. I think Mod Podge mainly dries clear if you do it very, very thin. Okay. I'm going to move this over. And I'm going to keep on going. Okay, I'm going to make sure that wherever I miss the tape, like right up there, I'm going to add extra glue, okay? Again, I'm laying the bumpy side up. And then again, burnish it in. And do the same thing. Make sure you get that glue strip on there. That just helps keep this together a little bit better. Okay. Now that I've got that, I want to go ahead and get my chipboard on here. Okay, I'm going to flip it over again to the bumpy side up. I'm going to grab my chipboard, but first of all, I do want to tape my chipboard. And it's up to you. You could tape this whole entire thing, but you may be wasting tape. So the way I see it is, I mean, it's just completely up to you. And that way I can see my score lines better if I just tape the chipboard. You'll see in just a second. I'm going to move that out of my way real quick, because I don't want to accidentally get tape stuck on there. I'm just going to tape the entire side here. Now, again, if you're just using tape, you do want to make sure that you get tape over the entire thing then. But, you know, I'm always using glue. Oh, my goodness. That one was fussing, huh? Okay. And again, if you have anything hanging over, just trim it off. And I'm going to burnish this in real quick. Make sure it's nice and smooth. I'm going to come over here and just to make sure that this is lined up right. I always check it first, and it is. Now I can go ahead and remove my backing. Now, for those of you who haven't watched me before, you know, again, the reason why I use the glue is because of the humidity, but also because it gives me a couple seconds to go ahead and place it before it sticks, okay? Whoa, that just flew out of my hand. Okay, I'm going to line it up just inside my score lines. And now I can press down and burnish it in. Now I'm going to grab my spine, and I'm going to go ahead and tape that as well. But since I made my little boo-boo, I got to fix that. Okay. I'm actually going to switch glue real quick because the tip makes it kind of squeeze out a little too hard, so I have to move quickly. I'm going to go ahead and paper my last, I mean not paper, tape my last one as well. Get that out of the way. Flip it around. And you know what, I'm going to burnish this in before I peel it off. There, that's better. Last one. Okay. Now, I always like to do an 1/8 inch in between. So, if you have a graph ruler, this is an 1/8 inch in between. Okay, and you can go ahead and use that. Or you could use your perfect trim ruler, although your ruler is a lot easier. Or you could use, I think there's a company that actually sells something for that. I don't know, but there we go. For the life of me, I can't remember their name momentarily. I'm having a brain fart. Okay. Press that down. Wipe off that excess glue. And I'm going to burnish it in really hard. Okay? Because I don't want any bubbles. I'm going to move this over and do it one more time. Let me peel these off first. You really want to get these as straight as possible, but occasionally, if they're slightly crooked, it's really not that bad. Because you do have that 1/8 inch space in between, so you can move it. Okay. Oops. See how that glue helps move that paper? Let me tell you. Let me move it. That's why it's good. Okay. Again, burnish it in. And wipe off any excess glue. Let me tell you what, this glue is super sticky, this fabric glue. Okay. Now I can grab my trimmer and cut off some of this excess paper, okay? So I'm going to line it up on my trimmer, basically where I see 1 inch meet the chipboard, okay? So I have a 1 inch edge. And now I can either save that or trash it. Okay, so here's my, almost, we're getting there, guys, almost to the final steps. I'm going to grab my little perfect trim ruler, and I always keep mine at 0.25. That's up to you, what, you know, how much space you want in between your chipboard and the paper, but I think this one gives it like the perfect amount. It's about maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Okay, so I'm going to grab my 2-inch tape again. And I don't know why I have this piece here, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of fold it a little bit and get it ready. So I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. I know it doesn't help with my camera, but for my live shows, I kind of have to have it close in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab my tape and I'm just going to line it right up there on that edge. Try not to go over. And just for now, I'm not going to burnish it in too much. Okay, now I can burnish it in. Okay. I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. Oops. I did not get close enough on that edge. That's okay. I'll make sure I use enough glue there. Okay, burnish it in. Okay. And one more. Again, trying to get close to that edge. Now again, I hate to like reiterate, but if you are not using glue, make sure all of this has tape on it, okay? That way you don't have any bubbles. So I'm going to go ahead, burnish that one in pretty good. And I can go ahead and start peeling. If you can, try not to go over your tape, but in this instance I did today. Okay. Now we're going to remove this on all my sides. Okay. There's one crazy little edge here. I'm going to clean that up. And I'm going to start adding my glue. And again, I press it down and then I kind of push and pull at the same time. You want to make sure it's pulling up on here nice and tight, okay? And if you can see, I'm pressing really hard with my thumbs, pushing it up on the edge. Probably use your bone folder too to push up that edge. Okay. And again, quickly wipe off any excess glue. Now, for my corners, what I like to do is I like to take the edge and basically kind of push it up on there. Just kind of push it in a little bit. Do the same thing on this side. Okay. And then I'm going to go around to this side. Same thing. Add a little bit of glue. And push and burnish it in. Tell how hard I'm pushing. My table's going crazy. Okay. And then again, I'm going to push in those edges and wipe off any excess glue. Okay. Okay. Now over here to the last part of this. And make sure I have enough glue. And again, push and fold over. Okay. Uh-oh. I see a little bubble there. If you have any bubbles, just make sure you take care of that now. And then also, I want you to go ahead and gently take this edge of your bone folder, or the side, not the edge, and start pressing this in and kind of working your thing here. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side as well. Okay. And again, if you have any areas that need glue, that looks pretty good. Okay. Last little part here. And burnish that in. Okay. Looking pretty good so far, guys. For some odd reason, my other bone folder disappeared. That's crazy. Okay. Don't know where it went. Now I'm going to read this out real quick. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and paper the inside of this. Okay, I'm going to grab my ruler. And it's basically, you're going to need a sheet of paper that's 18 inches long. So we're going to put two together. All right, but we want to make sure that when we do put them together, you want to have the pieces where it's center or glued together right here in the middle of this. Okay, so I'm going to grab my paper. And we said that this was, I might need 3. Hold on. Yep, 9 inches long. So we're going to do 8 7/8. So I will need 3. I'm going to go ahead and cut this at 8 7/8. Of course, if you have two 12-inch pieces, you could do that as well, but I don't have that, so I'm going to do this. Okay. Again, it's the same thing where you marry the other papers together, but this time we don't have that fold. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my tape. You just want to make sure that your pieces that you tape together are not near any of the hinges, okay? And so that's why it's kind of hard to say, okay, it needs to be this size, because you don't know that until you line it up. And just to make sure, you know, everybody does their albums a little bit differently when it comes to covering the chipboard, okay? I'm just going to line this up, make sure it's lined up straight. Okay, now I can burnish it in. And I'm going to do it one more time. Burnish that in, and I went a little over, so I'm going to trim off the excess. Okay. Oops. I want to make sure it doesn't get stuck before I've even done anything yet. Okay, now I can burnish that in. Oops. And guys, I am going to do that same trick that I do with a tip. I just gotta attach it again. Okay. Like you see, guys, in case it ever somehow misses the tape, that's why the glue is good here. Let's do it a little better than that. Okay. Okay. Now here comes the unfun part, is what I call it. Okay. Again, I want to make sure, and I have to be careful because I still have some tape sticking out, okay? So I have to be sure that these little lines right here are not anywhere near my hinge. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit, okay? And I'm going to put it in a straight line here just to make sure. And now I'm going to make a little mark. Okay. I need to go about a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch from my edge on my left and as well as on my right. And then now that's where I'm going to trim my paper. So I won't have any issues with the paper splitting where the hinges are at. And then I can go ahead and trim off the excess. Okay. All right, now for this particular piece, I am going to go ahead and tape the whole entire thing and add a little bit of glue. Now flip it over on the side I don't want it to see. Oops. And I'm going to line this up here as close to my edge as possible without going over. And go all the way down. Oops. Well, that's too late now. Gotta put it down. Guys, don't do what I did. Just want to make sure you have this whole entire piece taped, okay? You really do. Because you don't want to have any air pockets at all. Okay. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to go ahead and remove this little piece. Oops. And again, line it up. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put some, let me burnish this in real quick, just to make sure. I'm going to put a little tape in that one little spot that I missed. Oh, come on now. There we go. Burnish that one in a little smidge here. And I did go over, so I'm going to trim off just a little hair. Well, maybe not. I'm going to push it back up onto the paper. I don't trust myself. Okay. And then now I'm going to go ahead and add my glue, especially on my edges here that I missed the tape. And I really have to work fast. Now, if you live in an area where it's really dry, like Arizona, for instance, you probably don't need to do this, but okay. I'm going to grab my little piece here. I'm going to stand up and make sure that this is centered. And press it down. Oh my goodness. That's always nerve-wracking, guys, because you work so hard getting everything done. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but that is always my stressor right there, is this part. Okay, and then I just burnish it in really hard, guys, okay? Because you want to make sure you don't have any air bubbles, and you will notice them as you start lifting for your closure. Like I can see here. Let me see. See, there was one right there. It's so easy to find them. They'll sneak up on you when you least expect it. And again, I'm just using my edge and gently work it at the same time. So on the edge and then flat, okay? Turn this around. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure I burnish it in really well. Yeah, I feel that lifting. I sure do. There we go. Got it. Okay, so now I have my little album cover. All right. And for me, before I actually attach my hinge, it's a little bit easier for me to go ahead and add my paper now, okay? So I'm going to give you those measurements. Oops. Preferably not making too much racket. Here we go. So if you want to wrap your album, that is up to you. And what I mean is wrapping around the spine, okay? I'm going to show you how to do that today and how it's, you know, how I do it. You know, everybody's a little bit different. So I am going to double layer this a little bit. I like to have a little bit of the black accent underneath because I think there's just too much red going on. So if you're not going to do that, your pattern paper would be this measurement, which is going to be 7 3/8 by 8 7/8, okay? And then I just did 1/8 of an inch shorter for my pieces here. Hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and glue these together now instead of doing it later. It's just kind of easier when it's actually apart and off the book. Y'all notice I did something that I don't normally do, which is glue it and then attach it. Okay. And then burnish it in. I wish I knew where my other bone folder was. It probably fell in the trash. It always does that. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for my back piece. And this time I'm actually going to do it the right way. And again, burnish that in. Flip it over. Okay. And burnish it in. And then now I can go ahead and attach it to my cover, and I'm going to turn it this way. I'm actually going to take this off here. I'm going to get a little crazy with the glue. Okay, I'm going to burnish that in. Now I can do my other side. Now for this next part, you don't have to do it this way, but for me, I just kind of find it a little bit easier. I actually grab a pencil, and I always use one of the really thin ones. Not that it really makes a difference, but then I have less to erase if I have to erase. So I just use the little mechanical pencils, and I actually draw where I want to put it, okay? I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, so for the piece that's going to go in the middle here, all right, I wanted it to go over an inch, all right, from the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this measurement in a second, all right, but let me fold this over, okay, just so I can see what I'm doing here. I'll make sure it's exactly an inch because that is what I measured it for. Okay, so I made a little mark at the 1 inch. Okay, I always line it up on the edge here to make sure that when I'm drawing my line, it's straight. Okay. And I'm just going to lightly draw my line. I hope that's right because it just doesn't feel like it. Hold on, guys. I don't trust myself. Let me do it this way. That's a lot easier. There we go. Now I know for sure it's not going to be too crazy. So I'm just going to draw a very light line so I know where to put this. I'm going to go grab my tape again. And it really is better if you use tape and glue. Again, only for the reason for being able to move it quickly if you need to. Okay? Just make sure you have, today. I'm going to make this work, guys. Okay, and I'm going to burnish this in really well because, of course, you see my little wrinkle there. I'm going to turn it over. And just a little bit of advice. If that happens to you where it wrinkles, don't lift it like I did. Just go ahead and work it in, you know, because you don't want to rip your paper. Just going to trim off this little edge here. Okay. And burnish it in really well. I'm going to remove this tape. And I am going to add a smidge more right here on my edge. This is probably a little overkill with the 2 inches, but that's okay. Okay, again, burnish that in. Okay, so I'm going to grab my album. And whichever way is easier for you, having mine turned this way, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to line this up at that 1 inch line. Okay? And Laura, please let me have the right measurement. I'm like sweating bullets right now, guys. Are you? And I know you're thinking, okay, you know what you're doing. Well, on my other one, I gave it a 1 1/4 inch. So this is a little bit different than last time. Okay, right there on that edge. Pull it up a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to wipe off that excess glue on edge. I really haven't even pushed it in yet, okay? Now I'm going to start working it over, okay? And getting rid of that excess glue as I'm going along here, okay? And I'm going to start folding it, okay? And pushing down at the same time. Little bit at a time. It's like baby steps, guys, baby steps. Okay. I'm right there at that edge. I'm going to go ahead and press it down really good. Okay. Come back, open it up. Oh, your little booger moved. So now I'm going to have to work that baby. If it ever wrinkles on you, you just keep on working it and smoothing that out. Okay. And you want to have that little bit of give, because if you don't, your paper is going to rip. But the tape really does help kind of keep it in place, if that makes sense. I've tried Tyvek before. I attached Tyvek to the back of the paper and then folded it over, but it was really, it made the paper really tough, but that's up to you. You can try it however you want to try it. Now, we've got that done. Phew, okay. So now we're going to work on our actual hinge. I'm going to grab another sheet of paper that's 8.5 by 11 inches. And I'm going to cut it to 8 3/8 on the 8.5 inch side, okay? So just a smidge smaller than a 1/2 inch, okay? That's how much I'm taking off. Whoa, that was a lot. Okay. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to line it up on my board, and I always line it up on the edge that I did not cut. That way it is always straight. Okay, just be sure that when you do that, you know, you try it that way. So let me grab my little, I have a little chalk that I like to use to number my pages. Okay, so on my scoreboard on the 11 inch side, we're going to score at 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, you know what, guys, I lied. Hold on, that is incorrect. I lied. Let me do this over. I apologize. Thank goodness my measurements are right on my tape. Okay, let's do this one more time. I'm going to take off that little line there. Okay. The 1 inch is right. The 1.5 is right. Okay. Okay. 6, 2 1/4. 3 inches. And then we're going to go back to the 1/2 inch, 3.5. Okay, and then as I'm going along, I like to go ahead and mark it. So I know that is going to be my first one. 4 1/4. 5. And then a 1/2 inch. 5.5. And then I'm going to mark this one as 2. 6 1/4. 7. And then 7.5. And then this one is my third. And then we have one more. 8 1/4. 9. And then 9.5. All right. I know that seems like a lot. I'm going to go ahead and mark this one number 4. Now it's up to you. I like to mark them on the front and the back. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to grab my tape and I'm going to add my tape on the side with the bumpy side up, okay? Okay. And I use glue, so I am going to leave a smidge of this without the tape, okay? For me, the tape is just a guide when it comes to this, because I really like just doing a glued hinge, okay? Because I know it's not going to come apart. So I'm leaving every 1/2 inch without tape, okay? I'm over. Now I want to go ahead and make sure I tape that up again. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. Okay. Trim off any excess. Okay. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and burnish these in really well. Whoa. See, it's a good thing I'm using glue. I'm going to go ahead and cut that little piece off that I ripped. Okay. I don't know why I did that, but let me start off with number 1, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue here, okay? I'm going to fold on that score line right there for my first hinge, okay? Burnish it in and wipe off any excess glue that's going to come out of there. And then on that first little hinge line, I'm going to fold that back. And you'll still see another score line that is not being used yet. That you're actually going to wrap around your chipboard. Okay? And then I'm going to continue on. And I have to be really careful because I messed up by taking off all my tape. I don't know why. I guess I was in a rush. That's a first. And I'm going to burnish that in. Okay. And fold it back. Okay. And I'm going to keep going until I have all my 4 little hinges done. And just wipe out your excess glue as you go along. Otherwise it gets pretty messy. Fold it back. And one more. And fold it back. Okay. Now what I like to do is kind of work on my hinges back and forth, just a few times just to get them ready. Okay. And then now I can go ahead and engage the other folds right here. All right, now I'm going to put that to the side real quick, and I'm going to grab my other chipboard piece. This one is going to be 2 3/8 by 8 3/8. I think I mentioned that earlier. But I'm going to go ahead and add my tape to this. Okay. Burnish that in really well. I'm going to add a little bit of glue here. Not a little bit. This is actually quite a bit, but I just want to make sure that it's not going to come apart, okay? I'm going to grab my hinge and I'm going to put it right in the center there of these 2 flaps, okay? And I'm going to press down really hard. Burnish it in. Okay. And then now I can just glue the rest of this on here. Okay. Fold it over. Make sure there's no air bubbles. You definitely do not want a weak hinge. Okay. And then I'm going to fold over and burnish that right up there. And burnish it in. Okay, so now I have my hinge ready to go. Wipe off any of this excess glue here. And then you're just going to want to center this in. And I believe that there should be 1/4 of an inch in from each side. Okay, and probably about 1/4, it looks like 1/4 of an inch from the edge too. So you can make a little mark. I'm going to do a little mark. Let me just double check. Yep. And it's a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. Maybe a little bit in the middle there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do glue. You can do tape if you want to, but like I said, it's not going to work for me here in the humidity. Okay, I'm going to line this up. And then I'm just going to burnish it in, okay? I'm going to burnish it in a little bit better, but I want to use the paper towel in case any glue comes out at this point. Then I'm going to come back in here with my bone folder and really get it in good, okay? There we go. Okay. Perfect. All right, so now here is the most difficult part of this, I would say, besides the cover, is actually adding these pages because they're slightly different than your normal type of page, right? But before I added my pages, I do want to go ahead and paper in between my little lines here. So we said that this was 8 3/8 inch long. So I'm going to do 8 1/4 by 3/8 inch, okay? And I'll need 1, 2, 4 of those. So probably should have just made it easier on myself. Cut it ahead of time, but I didn't. Okay. I'm just going to keep on going. Okay. All right, now I want to cut it to 8 1/4. I'm going to do all of these at the same time. Oops. I just want to make sure these are all here. All right. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and center that one. Sorry guys, this is quite a long tutorial. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there, I'm telling you. Okay. I'm just going to keep adding these in here, wiping off my excess glue. I have some crazy neighbor honking their horn. I don't know what's going on out there, but I'm going to tell you. We have a lot of weirdos here. Just playing. They're not that bad. Okay. See, there they go again. Huh. Okay. Keep on going. I think it's going to be about 100 a day, guys, because my craft room is burning up already. I don't know if it's the lighting or what, but oh my gosh, getting hot on her. Okay. Now, for my inside pages, 7 3/8. I don't know why I didn't write this down earlier, but we said this is 9 inches long. Oh, 8 7/8. Okay. So I need 2 of those. And I think I might have a couple extra of my, no, I've only got 1 of these. Okay. So we're going to do 7 3/8. Oops. By 8 7/8. That looks good. Okay. Now remember, if you want to add a waterfall or pockets, that would be great. But for me, I think I might give this one to my mom. And sorry guys, I know I'm making a loud noise. Okay. Furnish that in. I just want to add large photos, I think is what I'm going to do. Take advantage of the large space that I have. You could do a large frame with a shaker. That would be super cute. Or again, another large pocket. Okay, burnish that in. Okay, we need 1 more. Now let me see. I think I'm going to do the nose. Again, 7 3/8. 8 7/8. Okay, we're almost done, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to attach one of the pages. It's all the same on all four. I mean, we have been on here 2 hours, so I'm going to let you guys have some lunch, and I'm going to sit here and finish this up. But I'm going to end the live show after I show you how to attach the pages. And thank you guys so much for coming on. And I cannot wait to see y'all's creations. Don't forget to share it to the community page right here on PHOTOPLAY, because we would love to see it. And this does not have to be a recipe album. This could just be a photo album. I mean, either way, it holds 4x6 photos or 4x6 recipe cards. So it's completely up to you. Again, burnish that in. Okay. So let's start off by showing you kind of how I do this. Now, you can attach tape here. And you know what? Maybe I'll just do it just to see, because I didn't do it before. So let's just see if this will be difficult, just to kind of hold these into place, because they do kind of swing around. And if you're a newbie scrapbooker, you can still make this, but I don't want you guys to have any issues. So let's just see. For giggles, let's see if this works. Okay. My worry is that the tape will make it a little bit slippery, but we'll see. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you have your little hinge. Now I made this hinge a little bit long for you. And the reason why that is because we want you to leave about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom here, right? So in other words, don't go all the way down. In fact, I'll show you with a piece of tape, just so that you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch here, and I should have gone all the way across with the tape. What's my problem today? Okay. I'm going to turn it to the other side, do the same thing. All right. I'm going to come in here with my glue, or you could just, you know, put your tape on the inside of here. You could do that as well. It's just, I really suggest with this type of binding, this is not your typical binding, I would use glue as well, okay? So I'm going to add my glue all on the inside here and even where the tape is. Oops. Okay. I'm going to lay these down and get those out of my way, okay? I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to center it. And then I'm going to place it down to that edge of that tape, okay? Now, once I press this together, okay, and I'm going to do that really hard in about 2 seconds here, okay? I'm just trying to get it set up, all right? Once I do that, I'm going to show you that you still have that little gap. And you need that gap so that the pages fold over nicely, okay? Let me look at this side. It looks pretty darn good. I'm going to burnish it in anyway, just for giggles. Hi guys, I just wanted to show you the finished recipe book. So we have our little snowflakes on here. I don't know if you can really see that. It's so hard to tell, but they're there. And we have our little ice skates. And then we have our little gnome and have yourself a merry little Christmas. Very cute. And I decided to do a little bit of the stickers on the back as well. And then on the inside, I made a little tuck spot. So a big photo is going to go here, and then I can journal on this. And then we have our recipe cards. I love the mistletoe and the North Pole, and a good mixture of recipe cards and ephemera cards. And you can change these out, you know, as you want to. And then again, we have our little pocket. I love this. All is calm, all is bright. Kiss me under the mistletoe, December 25th. And again, we have more recipe cards. And then I have 25th here as well. And then I added a little peppermints on here just for some sticker elements. And I love the little sleigh. It almost looks like a cookie. And then we have the joy here. And more little ephemera tags or journaling tags. Then again, more recipe cards will go here. I love my little gnome here. Jingle all the way. And again, we have another jingle all the way and then special delivery. And I made a little tuck spot here so I can put a photo there. Or another recipe card. It might be a recipe card. I don't know. Maybe one from a magazine that I like using. So I just don't know yet. But I really have a lot of fun with recipe albums. And I hope you all like this too. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. And definitely share your creations on PHOTOPLAY if it's made with PHOTOPLAY paper. Thanks again, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.